first of all, there is no evidence to your point. Their whole goal is to try to discover evidence. But let's talk about the allegations. So the allegations on the table from the House Republicans allege that he joined phone calls, President Biden, joined phone calls and meetings about Hunter's business. They also are alleging that Biden purportedly received a $5 million bribe in exchange for pressing for the firing of a Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating that gas firm that Hunter was on the board of. Okay, that's number two. Number three, they're also saying that banks have flagged over 150 transactions from the Bidens as quote unquote suspicious activity. Again, these are all just allegations. My question is, what is the end goal, knowing that the Senate, we as Democrats, hold the majority, right? So in order for this even to move forward, they have to have 2/3 of a vote, which will never happen. No matter what, it won't happen. So why? What is the purpose of this?
I almost feel like you answered your own question in a way, because I think we all think, well, what's the end goal? But I think maybe that's kind of antiquated when we think about the end goal. Like, I'm going to sue Jeff because I want money from him for what I think he did. I think in this case, I would sue Jeff knowing it's going to be thrown out. But for 3 months, I get to drag your name back and back and back and forth through the media and kind of create a counter narrative. We're in a situation where their guy, Trump, is going to have a lot of bad press. There's going to be, you know, trials starting, trials ending, probably some trials that he loses, things that don't look well, and things coming out before the election that aren't going to look great. And I understand they have to have a counter narrative. And what are they going to say? If it is Sleepy Joe, which they've been calling him Sleepy Joe, it's hard to get a lot of stuff on somebody that's sleepy. So you got to go after his son and then kind of paint him as this shadowy business figure. And for people that don't like Joe Biden, that's all they need to kind of run with this and have a, but your guy did this. And that's all this is about.
Or is it precedence? Let's flip it. Let's put it on a Republican. Or is this precedence where we should investigate anything that looks suspicious when it comes to the leader of the free world and people that we're supposed to hold to a higher standard? I'm not saying that's what I believe, but I think that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I listen, if there's something there, look into it, right? I don't doubt for a second that he used his dad as leverage in these deals.
He overstepped.
Absolutely.
We all know
Absolutely.
he overstepped.
How deep was it? Was it innocent?
Right.
Was Joe Biden in the room? Was he on an email? Maybe unknowingly, maybe knowingly. But I think it is a tit for tat type of deal. You know what I mean? Like, all these allegations against President Trump, some of them might be true. Some of them probably aren't, you know? But I think that's what they're doing. It also might be an out for the Democrats. Joe Biden, you know, he got entangled in this. We got to walk him out. We'd love to have him for another 4 years, but he kind of put his, you know, his hands too far into the cookie jar. Now we need someone else to slide in there. So maybe it's their own doing. Maybe it's their way to get Joe out gracefully.
Which, you know, I've always said could be a definite issue.
Yep. Definitely.
All right, let's see the poll results. No. So 81% of you say no, you do not support the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Yes, 19% of you do. I think look into Hunter. I just don't know what has to do with the president. Let's talk about First Lady Jill Biden. She posted a video yesterday of a New York tap dancing troupe performing a, quote, playful interpretation, okay, of the Nutcracker Suite. It's getting all sorts of criticism, though, online, and we want to know what you think. We haven't seen it. Take a look. Okay. All right. So someone wrote in, it looks like the White House switched from cocaine to acid. What are we thinking here? Sam, you loved it.
I love it because it's avant-garde. It's colorful, it's fun, it's joyous, and it reminds me of like those old dance shows from like the 50s where everything is over the top. So I'm all for it. From the outfits to the facial expressions, boom, I would come and watch this show.
Al, what is your respective thought on that?
I wouldn't go watch it, but I didn't hate it.
You didn't hate it?
I kind of like weird artsy stuff. Jeff, what about you?
I hated it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Embarrassing. That's pretty much a representative of the world.
Yeah.
No,
like, nobody do any work, just float around and pretend like you care.
The tap dancing's not work. Can you tap dance?
Yeah.
Let me see you do a kick, ball change. Let me see it.
In the break, I might kick a couple things.
All right, coming up on DBL, that's a good button. A new movie starring Kirsten Dunst shows a divided America headed towards a civil war. Is this a vision of our future? And Tony Shalhoub, who doesn't love him, is sharing more about the Monk movie that finally got created year after the original show.
Has anyone here seen Ex Machina?
I have, of course.
Have you seen it?
Okay, Ex Machina, I would say, is my favorite
you haven't
movie.
seen it?
Stars
I probably
Oscar
do. Jeff, you
Isaac.
would
I don't
love
want to
it.
give anything away,
Is
but
it Alicia?
Like 20 years
Yes.
Alicia Vander or something?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Like 2009?
Vikander.
12?
Vikander, that's her name. Go ahead. And it really is, he lives in like a
2014.
2014, and he lives in a big island alone, and he makes
Don't
a
give it away. Well, you're giving the whole
Yeah, let's
thing
not
away.
talk-
We're not talking about Ex Machina in the next
Ex
thing.
Machina is a flawless movie. That's
It really
all I'll
is
say.
one of the best
and
movies of the
Oscar
future.
Isaac, did he get nominated for it or no?
I don't think
It's
so.
fabulous. Just please watch it. It's
Kind of flew under
unbelievable.
the radar.
Yeah.
It was.
And I went to the screening of it in Austin at South by Southwest and got to speak with the director.
Alex
and
Garland is the director. He is the actual director of this new Civil War show we're about to talk about, guys. It's Kirsten Dunst. We're going to talk about it more, but I'm really interested because we think it's the closest thing to what our heads have all been imagining in the past of what's going on. So we'll see what you guys think.
What do you guys think the movies that were up for Oscars in 2014?
Oh, that's a great question. 2014.
I know that Alex Garland in 2015 for that year, I don't think he won an Oscar. I know they did for best
Any guesses for what movie?
one that year?
2014.
Well, would have been 2015.
Oh, right.
2014.
Oh, the next Machina would have been a part of that because they won all their awards in 2015.
Right. So you guys don't have any guesses.
no, I can't.
2014.
I'm really bad with dates.
Like who won that year?
or even was up.
Wolf of Wall Street was up that year.
Okay.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, Dallas Buyers Club.
American Hustle.
Okay.
12
Those are
Years a
nasty.
Slave.
That was that long.
Gravity.
Do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
Wow, welcome back. That is a scene from the new movie called Civil War, starring Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, her husband, and Nick Offerman. So it shows America turning on itself following the secession of 19 states. Take a look.
But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
Wow.
Is this our new reality?
It gives me chills. And
Yeah.
I think, the director here, Alex Garland, also wrote 28 Days Later. He's also
Oh,
the
wow.
That's
director
my movie.
and
That's a great
writer
movie.
Love
of
it.
Ex Machina. So you have someone that deals with really complex issues that we all fear,
Yeah.
right? If you look at 28 Days Later, if you look at Ex Machina, and you look
Yeah.
at these sci-fi things that we fear, and in this case, we are fearing that division will end us, and that individualization will become weaponized.
Right.
That's terrifying.
It is. Jeff, you were nodding. What were you thinking?
I mean, I think this is an extreme reality. I love Jesse Plemons.
Me
by the way.
too.
Great actor. But I think we're headed in that direction. If directors are starting to grab that, if people are gravitating towards that, we're headed in that direction. I don't know if we're headed into what kind of American are you at gunpoint direction, but I think people are breaking off, right? The conversations that we have on social media, on the show, These aren't normal conversations that people are having at their dinner table, right? People are having normal conversations. They judge each other. They laugh about it. You're not allowed to do that anymore in society. It's you're on my team or you're the enemy, kind of like this extreme. So it is an ideology that we're moving towards, and I think we're kind of already a footstep into it because I feel it. I don't have normal conversations on television or in certain situations as I do with my family and friends.
Totally.
So this is very much an extreme, but it's where we're headed.
It is, and let me ask you, Al, the premise here is that California and Texas somehow have come together as some of the biggest lands, and they are going against the 19 seceded states. Tribalism is something we've talked a lot about. Jeff watched Chimp Empire, which I watched too, and you really,
told me about that.
It's exactly what it's like. It's like you're in this chimp group or this chimp group, and if you cross this little line and stick, you'll kill each other. Is that sort of what this was?
I mean, if you want a very simplified version of it, I mean, we are much more complex than chimps, and I think with chimps, they're either like, this is my family or your family, but look, you look at Sam, she could be from Beverly Hills or she could be from anywhere else. You don't know about people's sociological backgrounds, their psychological makeup, where they're from, what their real ideology is.
I'm not from Beverly Hills.
So I
was wondering where those examples.
But no,
I'm
just saying, I think of Sam could be like on a Lexus commercial, or she could be a hit woman. You don't know, because everybody's got a lot of background that makes them who they are. So I think when you say what kind of American are you, that's an ideology, but that doesn't mean that, like, how are the races going to align? How are the different age groups going to align?
But what if it was, what kind of American are you, Texan or not?
But you know
But
what?
there's a lot of different Americans. It's just the people that talk that are the loudest.
But what, you know, they're the loudest, yes. But what makes me afraid is the fact that what restores us is communication, empathy, and having conversation.
Right.
We're moving farther and farther
correct.
away from that. So that is why this feels so real.
And why
You're not allowed to have those conversations anymore.
That's right.
Otherwise, people come for your jobs and your family.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just questioning something.
Right, we're just bringing up discussions. We'll be right back. That's what we do here.
Of all of the overwhelming aspects of the holiday season, some are easier to solve than others. An avalanche of packages crowding your door or catching the eye of porch pirates? Well, Amazon offers locker and hub locations touted as a secure way to make sure you get what you ordered. But posts all over social media say hackers are trying to take advantage of those spots to steal your gifts. We're talking about hundreds of posts about it showing up on Facebook, some even suggesting the added addresses aren't real Amazon locker locations. Videos about it on TikTok are getting hundreds of thousands of views. And we saw a warning about it catching attention locally on the Alexandria Nextdoor forum. So is it true that hackers are using Amazon lockers and hubs to divert purchases? We turn to these sources, including Amazon itself, to verify. According to a public statement by Amazon, lockers were added to address lists on some customers' accounts by mistake, but not by hackers. This isn't a data security matter, and our systems are secure, the Amazon Help account posted to X. Amazon pickup locations were added to a small number of customer accounts in error, and we are working to fix the issue. We checked with several attorneys general and cybersecurity sites, and no recent Amazon hacks have been reported. But even if someone did try to pull off a hack like this, Amazon says they wouldn't be able to. The company says once a package is delivered to an Amazon locker, the delivery confirmation email is required to open it. Hackers would also be unable to create a fake Amazon locker location. Amazon will only deliver to locker locations it has added to its website and that a customer can find using Amazon's pickup location search function. So we can verify the claims are false. Hackers aren't using Amazon lockers and hubs to divert your purchases. But if the company added the locker locations to your account's address lists and you don't want them there, you can delete them from your account. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Welcome back to DBL. People called him crazy because he worried all the time, but his worries were pretty spot on. Earlier, we spoke with Mr. Monk himself, Tony Shalhoub, and the creator of the hit show, Andy Breckman, who told us all about Mr. Monk's new movie.
Here in Chapter 4, you have 2 paragraphs about the suspect and 7, 8, 9 pages about his vacuum cleaner.
We have the same vacuum cleaner, the exact same model. What are the odds of that?
Please welcome to DBL Tony Shalhoub and Andy Breckman.
Yes.
thank you for being here. So this new movie deals with the aftermath of COVID, and the whole world started to become a little bit more like Adrian Monk. When the pandemic was raging years ago, were you both immediately thinking of the character?
Well, I think it was not just us, but everyone I was meeting was wondering how Monk was doing, and our fans not only love Monk, but they worry about Monk. And they were worried how Monk was faring during the lockdown.
Well, I have to ask you because, Tony, during the pandemic, you did a PSA of Mr. Monk in quarantine. Did that plant the seed for this film?
Absolutely. We didn't, we just thought it was just a fun one-off kind of idea. The Peacock approached us and they asked Andy to write up a 4-minute piece, which we shot in my apartment in New York because it was lockdown. My wife actually kind of shot it and directed it. But we were kind of stunned at the response. It was so favorable, so positive once that thing was released that triggered the idea for Andy and the network to talk about maybe there's a movie to be made about Monk in the aftermath.
I think people, when they saw a little taste, a little 4-minute movie of Monk, I think they remembered how much they missed him.
Right.
At least that was my experience. Oh, I miss this guy.
Aww. Andy, I got to ask you, because in theory, everyone just talks about putting all these shows back together. And Tony was originally hesitant to come back until he heard your pitch. So what was that pitch? How did you convince him?
Well, it's a good question. Unlike most pitches, it was kind of unusual.
The idea that really grabbed me, that Andy pitched, was he invoked It's a Wonderful Life, that movie, that sort of classic, heartwarming holiday movie, which involves a guy about to commit suicide, and which seems like such a strange, juxtaposition, but the way Andy pitched it just made so much sense that the pandemic would have knocked Monk so far back on his heels. He might be in this very dark place. But that Andy had an idea or a way, he promised us, a way to actually have it end up on a kind of hopeful, uplifting note.
I could point to Frank Capra in Wonderful Life and say, see, look, it's possible.
There's something there.
Yeah, we can make this life-affirming.
When we last saw Mr. Monk 14 years ago, he had solved his wife's case and he appeared to be moving on. But in this movie, like you all said, he regresses during COVID, which is so relatable, really so relatable. How do you think Mr. Monk's COVID experience is similar to our viewers who are struggling after the pandemic?
Oh, I think it's right in line with how everyone got kind of, knocked off their track. Everyone's lives were upended, and we had to reevaluate and reassess, but hopefully not succumb to despair and depression, and kind of find our way through and appreciate what we had and hopefully can have again.
I gotta know, as a Monk fan, is this really Monk's last case, or are you both leaving the door open for more stories?
Well, that might be on me to answer. I did very, very intentionally leave the door open half an inch.
Actually, it's 5/8.
5/8 of an inch, yeah, if you measure it exactly.
Very Monk.
I'll take it too. And I do have an idea for a follow-up, but it's not up to me. I don't have the money to film it and produce it myself. So it's up to our fans and up to the network. And so far, the response to this movie has been very, very positive and very enthusiastic. So, like Monk, it's hard for me to be hopeful, but in this case, I am optimistic about it.
That was almost like Tony. What do you think? Tony, you got the cash to put up for?
I definitely have the cash. I'm just not going to do it.
DBL Nation, you have to see
Monk. Monk, I'm cheap.
It's like Monk. You have to see Mr. Monk's Last Case, a Monk movie out now on Peacock. Tony and Andy, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Appreciate you guys.
Great, look forward to it.
Pleasure.
Have you heard of the term iPad kids? These are just a few posts going around X. If you search for that term, basically they talk about how kids are on their devices all the time. So can too much screen time lead to development delays? Let's get the facts. Our sources, Dr. Amira Zuzo, pediatrician with Novant Health, Dr. Marie Trace, behavioral pediatrician for the Cleveland Clinic, a study published in JAMA Pediatrics, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Kids screaming. Sometimes it's easier to just hand them a device.
I have this conversation several times a day. We certainly understand that technology is here to stay. And so it's very important to discuss it with your child's pediatrician.
Dr. Zuzo knows there is no way to really escape the screen, but says for children 5 and under, it's important to think about how much time they're spending looking at it.
The screen time can certainly affect development in children, especially if we started as early as 1 year old. And it really depends on what kind of quality screen time that is and how much they're using it.
The study of more than 7,000 children found too much screen time for a child at age 1 could lead to developmental delays, specifically when it comes to communication and problem solving at the age of 2 and 4.
I'm looking at a screen. There's not a lot that's being asked of me, right? Versus navigating my environment, playing with my toys, being outside.
So where's that sweet spot? According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, there should be no screen time before a child is 18 months old and no more than an hour a day for kids between 2 and 5 years old. Dr. Zuzo says it also depends on a few things: what children are watching and whether it's interactive. If it sparks children's creativity, that's better than just staring at a screen. With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
Viral social posts, including this one with nearly 1 million views, claim California will soon start fining toy stores that don't offer gender-neutral toys. But is that actually going to happen? Let's verify. Our sources are California Assembly Bill 1084, Assemblymember Evan Lowe, Target, and Walmart. In 2021, California passed AB 1084. The law requires large retailers that sell toys to have an area that organizes toys in a gender-neutral area beginning January 1st. Lowe, the bill's author, told Verify, if a little girl wants a science kit or a dinosaur to play with, she shouldn't have to ask her parent if she can go to the boys department. The law doesn't prohibit stores from having boys and girls sections as long as there's a gender-neutral area. Retailers that don't comply face a fine of $250 for the first violation and $500 for any others. So, yes, California will soon start fining large retailers that sell toys if they don't have a gender-neutral section. Although California is the first state to pass this type of law, you might not notice much of an impact in the aisles of the nation's largest retailers. Both Walmart and Target removed gender-based labels from their toy sections almost a decade ago. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. We got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out. Steph, what do you have for us today?
First up today, we've got the Floor Police cordless motorized mop. This mop is a powerhouse cleaning system. The 2 spinning mop heads spin the reusable pads to loosen, lift and lock in dirt. Ooh. This is a customer favorite and it's back at a new doorbuster price. So since the doorbuster deals are so popular, there's a limit of 3 per customer. Normally, Tori, this is $60.
Okay.
We've got it for just $20.
Yes.
That is saving 67%.
Oh man, that's a fantastic price.
Now, we all know diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Oh, give it to me.
And today we've got a Diamond Muse 1 carat TW Real Diamond EXO bracelet. This style is timeless, it's sophisticated, and it's stunning. So normally this is $499.
Right.
We have got it for $79.99. That is saving a massive 84%.
Diamonds for that?
I know.
Perfection.
It's amazing. Next up, Tori, we've got the Black & Decker 4.3-inch digital video baby monitor with a pan tilt zoom camera. This video monitor gives you a crystal clear feed. It's live from your baby's room, plus it alerts you if the baby is crying or if the room gets too hot. It's normally $180.
Yeah, that's not even bad.
But just for you guys, we've got it for $29.99. That's saving 83%. And then last up today, we've got the Later Vegan leather crossbody with a boho strap. It's got room inside, it's got organised compartments, it's got a pop of a bohemian flair and a touch of gold as well. Normally it is $66.
Okay, I mean,
however,
normal.
we've got it, Tori, for $19.99. That is saving 70%.
This is one of the best morning saves with the highest amount of savings that I've seen in a while. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can even scan the QR code on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Steph, thank you so much. So trying to be useful just wrote us, I went to Chicago last week and visited some friends, snagged some Portillos.
I was there
useful.
too. Maybe we cross paths.
Hey there, buddy.
Could meet in the middle of a beef.
Not comfortable with that. Bye.